Daniels for Antihero Magazine, and I'm here today with Karl Willetts from Memoriam, ex-bolt thrower as well.
Indeed.
Thank you so much for joining me, man. How's it going?
Pleasure to be here. Yeah, the sun is shining.
Yes,
it's a glorious
day.
For
5 minutes, it'll be
absolutely.
shining.
As I say earlier, when we played, it was absolutely tipping down with rain. But
you brought the rain with you, actually.
Yeah, we brought it with us.
Yeah.
But then we stopped it.
Yes.
Halfway through our set, it stopped raining.
The cosmic power of death metal.
I think it was down to our pure heaviness.
Yes, exactly. You scared away.
The Memoriam moistness was removed.
Oh my lord!
And it was great. Yeah. So it looked like when we first started, and the crowd were getting really wet, and there was such a few people at the front of the stage, and then by the end of it, the whole field was absolutely rammed full of people. So it was great, really good. We had a good gig.
Yeah, and speaking of Memoriam moistness, you've been making a lot of people moist with your 2 new albums.
Oh yes, that's the plan.
And when you were in Bolt Thrower as well, you kind of had this streak where like people said you've never made a bad album. Yeah. And now it feels like you've carried that over into Memoriam as well. Yeah. I mean, we're kind of working within the parameters that we know and we love, So we're working within safe territory. It's old school death metal, stuff. We don't tend to. We've got a very fast pace with Memoriam. That's something quite different from. You got a wasp in your face.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, he does. It's quite different from Bolt Thrower. We don't tend to dwell too much on what we're doing with Memoriam. We are very aware that our time, to a certain extent, is limited. Because we're all getting older in our lives, and we've seen a few people pass by. So we just pretty much put down what we want to put down and move on. We don't dwell on things too much, and that seems to work really well for us. It's a bit rough around the edges sometimes, but that's who we are. That's what we are, and so we've had 2 successful albums released through Nuclear Blast, and we're in the process now of getting songs together for the next album.
Oh wow!
So So we've got 2 or 3 songs we're writing as we speak, and we intend to go and record that early part of next year, aiming for instead of March. The last 2 albums were released March. We're aiming for a little bit later in the year next year. So still 2019. So it's going to be 3 albums in 3 years.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But we're going to aiming for a little bit later in the year, maybe around August time, around this time next year. So it's working well. We're just having a great time doing it as well. We're very lucky to be in this position at this point of our lives, and I think that really comes across in the music we play. It's almost a kind of joyous celebration of our lives and what we do. So and long may it last.
Would you say it's a celebration of vintage death metal as well?
Yeah, it's our life through death metal, and it's kind of all the people that have been with us throughout our journey. It's a kind of like a nod to them and a thanks to them for being without their support throughout the past 20-30 years, we wouldn't be in this position we're in today, and we're very aware of that and very thankful of that as well. And I think the joy that we have from being in Memoriam really shines when we play live. Because we were all really good old friends. When Bolt Thrower finished, I was kind of left with a choice of what I wanted to do as an individual with the rest of my life, and I definitely wanted to carry on playing in a band. So I automatically thought, well, I want to re-engage with my old friends, Whale and Frank, and get them involved and do something with them musically, which I've never done before. And it's all come together at an alarmingly fast pace, and we're just enjoying every minute of it. It's been a great experience.
Absolutely. And you're very much a family man as well.
Indeed.
Yeah. Are your family into death metal as well?
Not really. No. That's a different.
You've not passed it on.
That's a different life. They're a bit young, really. I mean, I've got 2 kids. It's a shame because they were both supposed to be here today at Bloodstock to come and see me play live for the first time, but unfortunately the little boy, who's Oliver, who's 4, he's got a virus and he was sick in the car on the way here. So we had to turn around, go home, and I've left them there. So I'm here without any responsibilities.
Yes. Get drunk.
Yes. Well, I've got to drive home next time.
Okay.
But so it's a shame. But there's always next time.
Yeah. Absolutely. And obviously, when it comes to starting Memoriam, obviously you were hot off Bolt Thrower, one of the greatest British death metal bands of all time. Was there in any way any frustration in going from Bolt Thrower, this giant name in death metal, to starting anew again? Was there ever any frustration with that?
Not really, no. We were very much aware that we'd be not starting up there at that level, and for us it was good not to be at that level in a way, because we could create something new and carve our own identity, doing something fresh and something new, something that we wanted to do. So there's a lot of similarities between what we do with Memoriam and what was Bolt Thrower, but there's a hell of a lot of difference as well.
Absolutely,
I'd say there's a lot more lyrically wise, from my perspective, there's a lot more political content in what we do today, which is important for me to state how way I feel about the world we live in. And musically as well, we're a four-piece, so the dynamics are very different from the bands I was previously in. So it's been a really interesting and exciting past couple of years. I joined Bolt Thrower when they'd already had 2 demos out and they got a record deal in place. So I joined a little bit into the journey. So for me, doing Memoriam from the base, from the very start, is a new experience for me. And releasing 7 inches, it's been fantastic, great experience. Yeah.
And I have to ask as well, as I guess a veteran of death metal, are there any young death metal bands at the moment from maybe like the last 10 years or so that are really getting your attention and that you're really enjoying?
Absolutely. There's a whole whole world of such a massive, diverse scene. Now, that's the glorious thing about metal, and death metal in particular, is that there's so many different styles and variations of bands out there that are doing some really exciting, great new stuff. There's Venom Prism, that I've got to mention there. They're doing some great stuff. Power Trip from America, Gate Creeper from America. There's lots of really exciting new bands out there that are doing some really good stuff. I've got to mention Godthrum as well, a good friend of ours,
absolutely,
and Valafar from West Yorkshire. Give them a shout out. They're playing with us in December when we play in Birmingham. At the Asylum on December the 7th in our hometown, on our annual Cash for Christmas show. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, it's very vibrant scene that we live in, and I think that's really healthy, and it shows that each generation that comes along within the scene creates its own kind of style, its own sound, its own identity, which keeps the scene developing. And it's nice to have reference back to the old school of what we do. People often pay us reference and give us a nod of recognition. And it's nice to have that, but it's good to see that people are forging forward and developing their own style as well.
And I want to backtrack a little bit, if you don't mind. You sort of hinted at earlier that sort of like the old guard of extreme metal was sort of maybe starting to disappear, like Slayer's retiring. We've had some tragic deaths in the past 2 years.
Absolutely, yeah.
Has that given Memoriam sort of some, I guess, a greater sense of urgency in releasing these albums?
Absolutely. I think that's very intrinsic within our the way that we operate. We are all very aware that we're all 50, well, apart from Scott, we're all 50 plus, so we are getting older, and we see people around us that we know and we love die and pass on. So that is a very much reason, in many respects, why we started doing the band in the first place. So there is a time scale involved with what we're doing here, so we are very aware of that, and we just want to achieve as much as we can in the short time that we have available to do that.
And even though you are sort of like we say, a death metal veteran, seeing you live earlier today, it still looks like you're having the time of your life up there.
I think that's one thing that comes across when we play live. Our live experience is it's quite different from our records. One thing are good, but I think we come into our own when we play live. It's the camaraderie that we have, those deep bonds of friendship that we've got, which really come across. We really enjoy what we're doing, and I think because we enjoy it so much, we haven't got the pressures, we don't have to do it all the time. We do pick and choose what we want to do on our own terms. But because we enjoy it so much, I think people generally feed off that enjoyment. They get it, they appreciate the smile and the bit of humour that we have there, here and there. And it lightens up everything. And I think that's part of our success, really.
Yeah. And the Memoriam live show, it's very intense, sort of very direct death metal.
Absolutely.
And chatting with you now, you seem like a very chill, very normal sort of dude. So I just wanted to ask, are there any sort of mental, I guess, rituals that you have to go through to get into that mindset for a show?
Yeah. I mean, I've been doing it for quite a few years now.
Yes,
so you know,
I feel like second nature at this point.
it's a pretty much of a natural process. But yeah, you do have to, focus and switch yourself off and concentrate on what you're doing with the four of you as a band, your band members. And as long as you've got that half an hour before you go on stage together, and you rehearse regularly, and which we do, which we enjoy. Getting to the rehearsal rooms is almost the highlight of our week.
Yeah.
So as long as you keep that focus going, that's the magic, really. We just enjoy what we're doing.
Absolutely.
And that's what keeps it alive.
Awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out today, man. It's been an absolute joy chatting with you.
It's been a pleasure talking to Antihero.
Thank you. Everyone go and listen to Memoriam. They will make you moist.
We will.
Cheers.